So today we're going to take a look at rational functions of the form f of x equals ax plus b over cx plus d. So we're looking at a linear over a linear. When we graph functions of this form, in order to determine, we need to determine the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, the vertical asymptotes, and the horizontal asymptotes. Now, determining the x and y-intercepts and the vertical asymptote works exactly the same way as it did when we were talking about the linear reciprocal and the quadratic reciprocal functions. But determining the horizontal asymptote works slightly differently, so we're going to take a quick look at that before we actually talk about graphing these functions. So we're going to start with determining the horizontal asymptote of g of x equals 2x minus 3 over x plus 1. So in order to do this, what we want to do is we want to focus on the term in the numerator, so the 2x or the minus 3, and the term in the denominator, so the x and the plus 1, that has the most influence on the value of the numerator and that has the most influence on the value of the denominator as x is approaching positive and negative infinity. So as x approaches a large positive or negative value, the negative 3 in the numerator and the plus 1 in the denominator become insignificant relative to the value of the 2x and the x. So let's take a look at that. If we take a look, for example, when x is 10,000. So g at 10,000 is going to equal 2 times 10,000, subtract 3, all over 10,000 plus 1. So that is equal to 19,997 all over 10,001, which is equal to 1.9995005, or approximately 2. So as we take a look at the numerator, the subtract 3 hasn't changed it significantly, and the addition of 1 hasn't changed it significantly. So let's take a look then at how to determine the horizontal asymptote by ignoring the negative 3 and the positive 1. So we're going to ignore those insignificant terms of g of x equals 2x minus 3 over x plus 1. So if we ignore the insignificant terms, right, so then what we're going to say is that g of x approaches 2x over x as x approaches positive and negative infinity. So as x is getting really large, we can ignore the insignificant terms, so g of x is going to get closer and closer to 2x over x. And so that is then that g of x is then going to approach 2 as our x approaches positive and negative infinity. So if g of x is approaching 2 as x is approaching positive or negative infinity, then we know our horizontal asymptote has to be y equals 2. So let's look at another one.